Hello, and welcome to Delegations of Dreamers. Today we have. I'm sorry, could you say your name?
Oh, it's Fayeth Nerilar. You must be Dreamwalkers. Alvin's told me a little bit about you.
Well, sort of. I'm a dream walker.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. My name is Ephraim.
I am Root.
I'm Ashura.
Nice to meet you all. I must say I was not expecting to come across three of you at the same time. Alvin said that usually it's in ones or twos with Dreamwalkers.
Who told you about us?
Alvin, he's I believe he calls himself a nightmare. He's been helping me. I've been having these terrible dreams lately about fire, so he's helping me try to figure out the root cause.
A helpful nightmare.
Unusual.
That's a rare one.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. He joined the Adventurers Guild, so he must want to help people.
All right, we'll have to come back to that.
So, is there a purpose to bring me here into this dream? Or is this just a friendly chat?
More or less a friendly chat. We're just here to speak with you to see if we can find some new stories.
Oh, you want stories? Ooh, where should I start? Perhaps with the Mimic Colony.
Start from the
Maybe.
beginning.
Oh, well, the beginning, of course. Let's see. I first woke up maybe 9 months ago. There was he was, I guess I can call him my father. He's a goblin artificer. He said he nursed me back to health from a terrible accident. He never really quite told me what happened to me.
You look a bit older than 9 months.
Oh, he tells me I must be maybe 400 years old. Being a high elf, I age rather slowly, so I still look in the prime of my youth, but not quite so young as that. No, he worked for MAST, the Mages for the Advancement of Science and Technology, as an artificer, and he taught me everything I know about working with wood, with leather, and with all sorts of mechanical devices. But there was pressure from the Mages Guild because they saw me as a threat because I don't really like the way they do things, let's say. So they pressured me into joining Mistress Cloudfall's expedition into the Forgotten Continents. So I found myself on a ship for about 3 months. Wonderful things. They were actually mimics that she managed to tame somehow. I think some sort of trade deal or something. But it was a long journey, and we had to fight off giant squids and all sorts of vicious, slithering things. So I arrived at the new continent. I still can't remember what they call it. Could never get my mind straight with that. So I joined the Adventurers Guild. Our first expedition, I went with Crayfrontier, Chenry, and Anvil. And we went out along the river towards the valley. We had information for previous scouting parties, but nothing ever beyond the valley. So we went down the river a ways. We came across this metal obelisk. In there, we found all sorts of wonderful devices, including this flight suit that I have on, or at least I think it's a flight suit. Crayfrontier is still working on those translations. Long dead civilization. From there, we kept going upriver, and we made it within sight of the mountains. And when we made camp that night, we were attacked by a fire elemental. It came out of the campfire, horribly burned one of our helpers from the guild. We managed to defeat it. I had to destroy a campfire for the night, so we had to take her back pretty much immediately so that we could get her to a healer. Horrible business, that.
I see.
How does that suit make you fly?
I don't. It's.
It doesn't seem to have any wings on it.
I don't think it does fly. Is the curious thing. I mean, it covers my entire body, and it's relatively loose with tons of pockets, which are wonderful. I get to store all my tools in there. Ray Frontier said something about metal birds. I mean, I would love to see one of those.
Were they somehow connected to the metal obelisk?
Yes, we were able to gain access to the obelisk. It looked like a barracks of a sort. There were a few cots, some metal containers containing personal effects, including what I can only describe as, guns. But, I mean, they worked almost like a wand, really. Very fascinating. Unfortunately, we haven't figured out how to recharge them.
Maybe they're one-time use.
Well, no, we got a few shots out of them, but once the light goes dim, you can never get it to come back on again.
You said that there was a party member who got horribly burnt?
No, she was a helper from the guild. She was sort of our guide. We had two of them. She was the healer given to us by the guilds to aid in our expedition, which is why we had to rush back because we didn't have a backup healer.
It is difficult to heal yourself.
Yes, especially when, she was burned over most of her body. Very horrible business. But once I got back, I decided that I wanted to create a guild for myself separate from Mast, where all of the artificers could come and create without restriction, other than, of course, some of the illegal items made by Mast. But we don't really talk about those very much anymore.
Oh, do you want to talk about those?
Not particularly. I haven't had much experience with them other than seeing them from a distance, but I'm told that they're horrible creations of war and destruction. But I created the Artificers Guild using the money from that first expedition I was able to gain from the sponsorship of Lady Cloudfall. And from there, I think we have about 28 members now, all sorts of specialties. My second in command is Priscilla Musgrave. She specializes in potion craft. Absolutely wonderful. She runs the guild when I'm out on expeditions, so she's an invaluable member of the guild. Unfortunately, she's the only one who can keep her messes in check. If I had a copper for every time those goblins broke something, I could start 3 guilds from scratch.
It's a lot of copper.
Indeed.
They are a constant pain in my side. Excuse me, I'm rather itchy at the moment. That's happened ever since I woke up. I think that might have something to do with dreams.
What kind of dreams are you referring to?
It's always a blurry face and then flames, and then wake up itching all over.
Speaking of dreams, how did you meet this nightmare called Alvin?
He's part of the guild. Usually he hangs around before expeditions in the common room of the guild hall for the Adventurers Guild. I mean, we've talked to him a few times, and eventually my dreams got to the point where I asked for his assistance in determining the root cause. Hopefully, if I find that, I'll be able to maybe, if not stop them, at least make them less bad. It's always... But anyways, there's the time I pissed off that mimic colony. That's always a fun story.
Sorry, a mimic colony?
Oh yes, I was called to help out with a family heirloom that kept moving of its own accord. I should have known from that instant, but, I was distracted that day. Anyways, I went to a tavern, and there was no one in the tavern except for the owner. That was the second clue I should have seen. But she had the family crest out on the table, and she asked me to examine it. Luckily for me, I didn't touch the thing. I tried all sorts of things to determine what it was, and then when I couldn't, I decided to provoke whatever was moving it. Turns out it was moving itself. Gamble on an imp and you get a mimic colony. Had to burn the building to the ground, and I believe I only killed one of them. So every time I must, well, everything in my office has holes in it, let's just put it like that. Tony's not too happy at the inconvenience of me checking him every single time I enter the room. He's my mirror. He's very useful. He seems to like fashion way more than most males I've encountered, so I made him myself after coming here. Needed someone to talk to. I believe he's taken an imprint after me, but he's more fashion-minded, I think.
I know a mirror myself, and every time I look at him, I fall in love.
Oh, I wish it were true. I can't seem to find any sort of love. But maybe one day.
Speaking of love, could you tell me how many people in your life have you been with?
Well, let's see. Like I said, I've traveled with Chenry, Rafintier, Anvil. Let's see, who else have I traveled with? No, I think that's about it. I still haven't been on expeditions with other members of the guild. Though next month, I believe we're going on an expedition up north to the frozen wastes.
Have you ever been to the Frozen Waste before?
Only once, and not very far. We broke the sending circle on our side on the way back because, well, apparently you're not supposed to steal vehicles from automatons.
Really now?
A great thing of metal that goes around on tracks, large compartment in the back for carrying people, and then a sort of armored compartment in front with all sorts of levers and dials and wheels to control the thing. But it was too large for the teleportation circle. So Raventeer is currently dedicating all his time to fixing that. I promised any help he needs from my guild.
Tell me, what do you use to fight these beings?
Well, I believe he ran away, but on our travels we haven't really encountered too much, but I mean, I have my little cannon. He's always by my side. Carved him myself, Absolutely wonderful piece of machinery. He can hit something of a hair's breadth at 120 feet out. Can't believe I was able to make him so precise. Unfortunately, my firearm that I got from the, what did he call himself, a gunsmith? Unfortunately, that doesn't have quite the same level of accuracy. Quite a shame, that.
This person, Anvil, is that a person or is it just an anvil that you carry around?
Well, not exactly a person. He's an automaton. I believe he calls himself a Warforged. He says he was born out of the Great Forge, and so he strives to bring the beauty of creation to the common folk. He runs the Artisans Guild, and we've had much progress in working towards that. They actually made the statue of our sponsor in the guild hall itself.
Could you tell us anything about the sponsor?
Well, I scatterbrained as always. I forget her name, but her last act before her untimely, well, I guess she was 800 years old, so untimely is putting a little bit too much spin on it, but she decided to sponsor the building of the guild hall on the condition that we never affiliate ourselves with mass. I mean, they're quite horrible people, so as long as I live, I shall never associate with them. And in fact, we've got programs to actively dissuade members of mass from coming to see us. But, well, Little Cloudfall handles most of that. We've promised, in her memory, to never make weapons of mass destruction. Never.
Of mass destruction?
Mass. M-A-S-S, as in a hell of a lot. Of course, I struggle with the twins every day with their fancy armors. But it is what it is. And of course, there's a fire about every week. So far, we've only destroyed the guild hall once.
I guess that's a good track record.
I think it is.
Also, I have to say that anyone who would make an acronym spell out another word is a horrible person.
Well, I mean, they call themselves the Masters, so, you know.
Yeah, douchebags.
Pretty much.
I've been told that someone let the canines out. Do you know who it was?
Oh, do not even get me started. Oh my goodness. The city was in chaos for weeks. We never did find out who that was. Well, we did have Volwyn on that, but I believe he was distracted with the child kidnappings instead, so we never really found out who it was.
Child kidnappings.
Oh, a horrible business, a criminal. Everyone called him Crook because he'd always leave a frog at the crime scene.
Was it the frog?
A shapeshifter.
No, I don't think so. There was a body, and there was also a frog, so I think he took him down with a single clean shot to the head.
Hmm.
The things that man knows about weapons, what I would give.
Yes, and one final question. If you became a god, what would you do in your world?
If I were a god, I would probably try to uncover the history of all the civilizations that have died upon this continent. The snake people to the south seem to keep records, but not nearly as exhaustive as I'd like.
See, that's a pretty good one, actually.
And may I ask, once your journeys are over, what is it that you plan for your future?
Well, I believe I'll be running the Artificers Guild well into my old years. Probably towards the end, I'll try to find someone to replace me. Hopefully, I can find someone as good as Priscilla.
May I inquire, do you have any criminal records on you?
Well, there was the one time with, well, I'm not allowed to speak about that.
No, it's fine. We won't tell anyone.
Needless to say, it was the reason I was kicked out of Mast. No, the Masters weren't very happy with me. Although I did derive some enjoyment from it.
And if you had to settle down somewhere, where would you say you would want to?
Oh, I have no clue. Probably further away from the sea. It's been about 2 months since the last attack, but the sea monsters are always angry. Maybe about 10 miles inland, where I could still run the guild in peace and not have to worry about krakens and the like.
And do you have any family that you know of outside of the guild?
No, if I do have family, they never really reached out to me. Maybe they think I'm dead.
Most likely.
See.
How long were you dead for?
I have no clue. He never told me.
But did you recognize the world when you woke up?
The only thing that I remember from before was a face and a name. I took it as my own because that's the only thing that I could, but it was Fayeth. The face wasn't mine, and sometimes I think that might be her name. Maybe she's the one who killed me.
Perhaps. And I pray that you find your answers to these questions.
Oh, yes. If I ever find out who killed me, they'll probably... The screaming would last 3 days, and the sobbing maybe 4 more before I finally got around to finishing them off.
No mercy, I see.
Mercy is for humans.
Alright, I believe that is everything that I have to ask.
Well, it's been wonderful dreaming with you. Maybe we'll meet again in another time or another place.
Perhaps, but until then, have a good awakening.
You as well.